Right, turning our attention to the engine cradle. What we need to do, two basic things, is to remove the rear swinging arm and to get the isolastic, what's left of the isolastic bush, out. The Obviously the stud that goes through the isolastic bush has rusted solid inside, and so it's been it was cut off at either end to enable the to be able to pull the thing out of the frame in the first place. So we'll have a go at that. I'll see if I can find a garage that's got a bench press. Otherwise, we'll find another way of getting it out. But the first thing I'm going to do, and I just need to take this bolt off that holds the primary chain case on. So I'm going to remove that. The first thing I'm going to do, though, is to try and get the swinging arm off. Now, what I should do is, this is inside the shaft is threaded. You can probably just about see there's thread there, along with a large lump of moss. Now, what you should be able to do is screw a bolt into that shaft, and then use that bolt to then pull it out again, pull the shaft out. But I don't have a bolt that big, and B, the threads are rusted anyway. Now, the bolt that does fit that is the front isolastic mountings. But when this was brought to me, it didn't have that mounting had already been removed, so I don't have that bolt. So I can't use that one, and I don't happen to have one that's big enough. So what I'm going to do is, I think, I'll sort it out, but I'm going to take the cap off this end. It's only just like a pressed alloy cap. We'll dig that out, and then I'll see if I can knock the bush, that big shaft, out from one end or the other. The first thing to do would be to remove the locking nut. I'll prise the end off this end and see if I can knock this inner shaft, see if it will come out. It should, although obviously there's a lot of rust in this end. It should be sitting in oil, if all being well, in which case the shaft should come out. Famous last words, but we'll see what's what. Okay, I've taken the plug out from the other side. There's the alloy plug. I literally just punched a hole in it and then sort of levered it out. It's still got the what do you call it, felt sort of backing on it, which is designed to hold the oil in. But sadly, inside, it's not looking too full of oil. There's another big lump of what I think is, that should be felt as well. It's just that it's green, which isn't inspiring me. So I'm a bit worried that the shaft is probably rusted in. But I'll poke it about, and then we'll see if maybe, again, adding some heat or something, if we can drive that shaft out. Now that we've got it, it's open at both ends. So we'll see how we get on. Okay, we've got both end caps off, and I've dug out what I thought was like moss from the inside of the shaft. It was, of course, the remains of the felt. There's felt sort of wad that's put in there to keep the oil in underneath the end caps. But of course, one end cap was missing completely. That should have had an end cap on it, whichever end it was, and the other one I've prized off, and that was just as bad. But it wasn't moss, it was just green felt wadding. It turned green, obviously, because all the water's got in. Yeah, and I've taken that central little bolt out there. And what I've got now is I've got a drift, otherwise known as a socket, which is just fitting on the end of the shaft. And it does, and I've just given it a couple of taps, and it does, hurrah, seem to be just coming out quite smoothly. So I'm just going to knock this through, and hopefully the shaft will continue to come out all the way through, and then the swinging arm should come off. Okay, and there we have it. I continue just driving the shaft out with a socket extension, and I'm very glad to say that this wasn't rusted in. It's obviously very rusted in that on the inside. Horrible water's obviously got in, but the good news is the shaft itself was fine. you know, and it came out no problem. I was really worried that was going to be rusted in. So hopefully now, I'm sorry about this. I don't know if I can be bothered to put. Oh, I will. I was going to say I can't be bothered to put the camera on a tripod, but I will. And then hopefully the swinging arm will literally just pull off now. Okay, hopefully, all being well, the swinging arm should just pull off now. Now that we've taken the shaft out. You can see that, it's just coming off there. And there it goes. Yeah, it's not too bad actually. You know, the bushes, as you can see, so we've got phosphor bronze bushes in the ends. I don't know how well you can see that. Okay, the phosphor bronze bushes, they look okay. We've got these oil seals. The only problem with these oil seals is I think they go on, you know, you have to put them on first and then drive the bushes in, which is a pain because that means you have to take the bushes out to renew them. So I'm not sure. We'll see. I mean, everything looks in good condition, but obviously the end caps, one of the end caps had fallen out, water had got in, but you know, considering that, it was in very good condition. Yeah, that's interesting. Oh no, it's all right. I was thinking that wasn't straight the swinging arm, but of course there's a chain. There's a sort of chain guard bit there, and that's what's making that it doesn't sit flat. So, how about that side? Yeah, that side sits flat, which suggests that, you know, the swinging arm isn't bent. I mean, that's only a very rough way of doing it, but obviously if it rots, then you know the swinging arm was very bent. Okay, so that's great. And then, yeah. So then the last thing we've got to do is to try and get this isolastic bush out. I don't know. I'll give it a few whacks to see if it wants to move. I have a feeling it won't want to move, but we'll give it, you know, we'll give it some whacks, and you never know your luck, do you? Because of course they couldn't whack it when it was in the frame, so that's needs to be a bit higher. So I'll set that up and I'll see if that'll drive out. I don't think for a minute it will, but you know, let's give it a go. Okay, I've just got a socket that just fits in, and then I've got a proper lump hammer this time. Going to give it some jip, see if it wants to shift at all. Oh, and it does, because the actual, that's great, the actual what do you call it, isolastic is quite free in the cradle, whereas the actual, then the stud inside the isolastic that was rusted solid, whereas the actual isolastic itself, in fact, look, I can push it out with my thumb. Keep coming. Oh, there we go. Right, so that's the isolastic. Now you can see how worn this isolastic is. If you look at the end there, can you see the top of the rubber, how thin that is, how close that is to the shaft, whereas at the bottom it's much wider. Right, now that's exactly what a worn isolastic does. It turns elliptical. Okay, I mean, not that we're ever going to use it anyway, but you know, that's what you're looking for on worn isolatics, that one side has been squished down and the other side, you can see how, you know, it's about a third. It's about a third smaller. Anyway, then the actual bolt that goes through the isolastic, that is rusted solid inside the isolastic, and that was the problem. They couldn't get that out because the centre of the isolastic is a steel tube, and then the bolt runs in the steel tube, and that had rusted solid. But of course, the isolastic itself is knackered anyway. So that's great, because that came out. You know, I thought that the rubber would have seized to the inside of the engine cradle, but it hadn't. So that's fabulous. That was a lot easier. I was thinking about bench presses and all sorts. It just came straight out. So there we go. that's all done. Just got to clean that up and repaint them. I don't know. And the only question is, do we drive the bushes back out in the swinging arm, put new seals in and put them back in, or leave the original seals? Don't know yet. Anyway, there we go. That, I think that is, of all the parts that were brought to me, that's the last bit. It's the whole engine and everything is now stripped to its component parts.